So, hey everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of the VYRus Show, podcast about design with raw discussion on design. और आज हमारे साथ बहुत ही खास गेस्ट है. Today we have Rishant Mehta, identity and packaging designer. He's really great at his craft and I've been following him for quite a while. So आज हम लोग काफ़ी चीज़ों पे बात करेंगे, जैसे कि ब्रांडिंग, what all branding is about, और फिर क्रिएटिव बिजनेस के बारे में बात करेंगे, and then content creation, the most important thing, which is going on and lot of junior designers के दिमाग में. तो apart from this, there is one interesting thing that I want to talk about in this podcast, in this episode, is life of being a creative, life of living as a creative, as a designer. क्या challenges फेस करते हैं हम लोग, क्या क्या चीज़ें नई सीखने को मिलती हैं और क्या क्या चीज़ें झेलनी पड़ती हैं exactly. So yeah, for Rishant, for those who don't know you and are not aware about you, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us how you landed up in design and what you're doing right now?
Hey, yeah, thank you, once for inviting me. I'm Rishant. I'm an identity and a packaging designer. Also have an eye for graphic design, specifically building sites. I really enjoy doing them.
Mm.
Uh, Other than that, I have been doing this for a couple of years now,
How
and
long
I
it's
do it.
been? Like कितना साल हो गया?
Uh, if you see it in a way, it's like 3 years now. Uh, three,
Mm-hmm.
2.5 to 3 years, while I officially started doing it from the time that I booked my first flight. I guess, yeah, it would be somewhere
Mm.
between 3 to 2.5 years.
Interesting. अच्छा एक चीज़ है, like you told कि you from getting your first client it's been 3 years, but the thing is कि before becoming an identity designer you must have been a designer. Must have started with graphic design. So tell us how
Yeah,
you landed up in graphic design and how landed up in design. What made you choose this particular stream? And tell us your background as well.
yeah. Um, the eye for the getting into design space really came in
Mm-hmm.
with the COVID, I guess. Yeah, while the COVID lockdowns were happening, I was already bed rested because I was hospitalized while I was giving my selections for football. Um, so at that time, I did not have anything to do other than reading books, or doing much more than eating and just being on bed and repeatedly reading some of novels or just writing and watching videos. But I think I came across few Photoshop tutorials on an explore page on YouTube. And I don't
Okay.
remember who it was, but I really went from there downloading a cracked version of Photoshop
Yeah.
just because I saw someone doing some crazy compilation of 2 to 3 people and putting them together and next to each other. And I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
fun. So I just found more videos on YouTube, and YouTube starts recommending you once you do that. So it kept on coming, and it was a kind of a thing that was killing some time for me while we were in lockdown and I was on my bed rest. So I think that's how it started, and I don't really know when it got evolved into really understanding and getting into the part of design. So that's how it started. Other than that, I till till this last 3 to 4 months, I really realized that the influence was already there. Because when I went back, my mom is an artist. She is into fine arts. She does not pursue a career in that, but she has been doing that for years. I think I for something artisanal or doing something experimental comes from there. And yeah, for overall design, it all comes from my parents.
So yeah, I think I can relate to that a lot. Or the part you said कि started from a Photoshop crack. I think we are, a lot of us, most of us started from there. So that is
Yeah,
something true. अब हम use करते हैं Creative Cloud. It's been 2 years since I'm
yeah,
using
yeah.
Creative Cloud,
But
So,
the thing was,
uh,
I cracked it.
uh,
I
hmm,
compressed the file because that time
hmm,
I did not have my laptop because I was not at my home. I was at my
hmm,
aunt's house, so I had to get done with whatever the laptop they had. It had a 2 GB RAM. Imagine I compressed the Photoshop file to an extreme that I could run.
hmm.
So it all started over there because Illustrator, it did not run over there because, it was not happening. So the only thing I got to play was for Photoshop. And yeah,
Hmm. Interesting. So, like, you explored a lot of things. You explored all the possible things, and you find this
yeah,
design वाला part very interesting. और मजा आया, I would say. तो
yeah, it was
choose किया
fun.
इसको. Hmm.
Rather, the thing is that I never
Hmm.
learned how to use the tools. It
Hmm.
became fun while I
Hmm.
was looking for how to create certain things. So it became like a muscle memory of, oh, okay, we have to do this, so I have to use that
Hmm.
tool. I've never learned a tool separately from a video, but I think
Hmm.
it's a plus point if you know your software because it helps you with a lot of cutting down the time for anything you're working on. So yeah, it was fun. It all happened in a slow, and I never know when I got into eye for designing, then how it transitioned into getting into knowing what branding is, then getting into what brand is, what identity design is, why do people do it, and all that.
Interesting. काफी like a kind of relatable story for me also. Even my parents are kind of an artist. They're not like having a profession in that, but my mother
Okay.
is a very good in fine arts, and my father is good in writing. So I feel that artistic and that design wala part came from them all as well, and I can relate to your story as well. So yeah, Achha, you mentioned that you transition like you call yourself an identity designer and a packaging designer now.
Yeah.
So would you like mind telling us how you chose that particular field and why you chose this particular field? Like what was the inspiration behind this?
Yeah. Okay. Uh, Even though I started with Photoshop and design, but the first thing I started was
Mhm.
understanding, getting into the brand part, okay? Looking into more
Okay.
strategical or verbal part of brand. That's what I was started with.
Hmm.
Even though design was something that used to get me excited, but I started as a brand strategist, even though I don't have certificate to do that. I neither
Okay.
have one now. But it was
Hmm.
fun by seeing how the first client was okay with it
Hmm.
and giving the responsibility of it. I think it all started with the transitional of moving from learning Photoshop and doing all those graphic design stuff to more of understanding what is the term artist, what is the creative field, what are the industries that are, what's happening with the brands because we have been interacting with them for years. And how do they do that? So we obviously are have all come across the channel's future by Crypto. So that's how the transition into understanding the business part, why the strategy and all that started. So that was the transition from understanding, okay, design is a part, and there's another part which is verbal as well. You also need that because without that, your visual identity is not going to work to a sense. So that's how the transition got into that. And I was really excited of how brands were becoming more human centralized. And that got me excited. And I started reading over a lot of blogs, and the future channel was being pushed over to understanding that.
Interesting. Kind of like I can relate to this also. So like being a brand designer like myself, uh, I always think about what exactly is a brand. So I think this particular word brand, which is being like kind of
Mm-hmm.
huge trend right now in the creative field as well as
Mm-hmm.
non-creative, but I feel it's like brand is very subjective to everyone.
Yeah.
and you talked about like you want to be like part of that and want to help clients. So
Yeah.
how would you define brand? How would you explain someone what actually a brand is?
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a definition. I really
Mm-hmm.
like the Martin Neumeier's quote on
Mm-hmm.
what branding is and what it's not.
Sure.
So I really like to go with that quote. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
change anything to that. But the major uh, thing about brand, what people take wrong, is that they really feel it starts with the identity, visual, and the logo part of the brand. So when
Mm-hmm.
the clients used to come, because it may be lack of awareness or either not really understanding what the space is, and it's not there to blame them. Uh, it's our job to as well get awareness out and also educate them. That's a good relationship that you have. So I really feel when they used to come, they used to tell you provide branding services? I want your branding services. So there are a lot of terms that are very different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So branding is not you're talking about the identity design part, right? The
Okay.
branding is a tree house. Inside that you have your verbal part, which is the strategy, your positioning, your values, all the things like purpose, why the business is there at the first place. Obviously, we're here to make money, but we want to survive for a longer time. So we really get into the way the brand speaks, right? That's the verbal. What I mean by verbal is how the brand speaks. By visual, we just imitate the verbal part to the visual side, right? So according to Marty, he says, like a brand is not a logo, not a product.
Mm-hmm.
He says what it is the I see it as a end goal of client or the customer expression or satisfaction or experience. So it's basically what they say about you or what the customers or the audience really communicate about your brand. It's really more about that. So because the identity is
Like
such a small part, right? Like,
okay.
okay, you
Okay.
have the branding part. Inside that, inside a brand, this is the brand. You have a little bit of branding, you have marketing, you have the product, and you have a lot of tree houses inside that. Inside the branding,
Mm-hmm.
again, you have a smaller thing which is like verbal and which is like visual. And under visual, you have identity. Inside identity, you have logos, colors, and under that, you have a lot of things. So when clients are telling that I want branding, they are really thinking they want to get the identity done. But at the bigger picture, branding as a term is very huge because if you're getting a branding, you would get into the verbal. You want to get done with the other stuff of messaging, the marketing stuff, the positioning, and all that. There are a lot of touch points that you have to craft. And that was a major confusion before. I also used to allow when I started, I was in my first year of 6 to 5 months into the business. I used to say we give branding services, but now I know that we used to say super. We don't do 90% of the things inside the branding part. It's
Mm-hmm.
really a thing to think about. So yeah, that's why whenever we ask, we build awareness and we help them to understand what they're actually looking for. So it's more about
Interesting.
a promise, like a brand is like a promise you make
Mm-hmm.
for your values or to your customers that you receive in return in what they tell about you.
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of Martin also, and even Chris Do, the legendary branding and all. So he also mentioned about like you don't actually provide branding services, so you should not talk about that. You should not you should not position yourself as a branding expert until or
Yeah.
unless you actually know what branding is. So I think brand, like how would you define brand in one sentence? Like you told a very good story
Okay.
about what branding is and
Yeah.
what brand is
Yeah.
about. But if you have to
So,
explain in one sentence, how would you do that?
uh, from my way of seeing it, I see it
Hmm.
as a brand is a
Hmm.
promise.
Okay, that's interesting.
So yeah,
Hmm.
promise of values that you receive in return to what you give.
Hmm.
It's basically the brand is the promise
Hmm.
that you make and you fulfill. That's how I see it because at the
Hmm.
end, I feel customer experience is everything.
Hmm. Customer experience and brand experience. Yeah, I think that varies for each brand. That varies for each
Yeah,
industries. Like सबका touch point अलग होगा. There will be a lot of different user journeys for even a single brand. There will be multiple
yeah,
brands. So
yeah.
just right now, you just explain what brand is about in a very detailed and
Mhm.
a very in-depth explanation, in-depth
Yeah,
insights.
yeah.
And talking about Martin Neumer, who is a legendary in terms of branding and building brands. I've been reading
Mhm.
his books, Flip, Zag, and Gap, all those
Brand
things.
share.
So yeah, brand Gap, brand Flip, and then Zag. Yeah.
Yeah,
So and then there are three more. So those are not exactly about brand, but still they are also relevant.
yeah.
And so talking about brands and building brands, brand is a
Mhm.
promise. According to you, brand is a promise. But what
Yeah,
if someone wants to build a brand? What are the things that he or she should take care of? I feel keep building a brand is not a single person game. So what is the
yeah.
thing that they should take care of? Whoever is building a
Mhm.
brand for
Mhm.
themselves or for their customer should take
Mhm.
care of on a like scale of like on the basis of priorities. Scale of
Okay.
what will be the best highest priority ki ye hona chahiye, hona chahiye. And then this, then this, then this. So what do you
Mhm.
think about this?
Okay. I think it's a good question.
Hmm. Hmm.
See, while building a brand, I think taking it step by step is a good way, I think, because everything starts with a research, even in our process. He I've been into a little bit of strategy and as well as the identity part. So I can get you through the
Hmm.
step by step process,
Sure, sure.
which is more weighted on the identity design system. But yeah, it's an overall thing for
Hmm.
everything, that type of a process that I like to follow. So I think we should start with the research part, really understanding the market, the competitors, understanding whom you're serving is really important in today's date, I guess. I think your research needs to be super solid. And I think having those 3 to 5 components of really understanding who your customer is, because the things have shifted in the past year or decade where the customers have become the king because you're really serving them in this heavy crowded market. I think once you're done with the research, really understanding the part, you get to developing the strategy. One thing that people get wrong is that, okay, a lot of the time, a lot of the brands, they have the business plan and everything ready, so they jump into the design part. A lot of the time, I agree, there's no budget for the strategy. Okay. But looking into a long term, I think having a strategy is basically you holding and trying to humanize the experience, like making the brand, giving it a mission, like vision, giving it the values of personality. Like, let's say you have a personality, you are authentic, you are sensible. So, when a brand
Hmm.
is able to make you sense that, it's easy for customers to relate, right? And when you relate, you kind of make friendship with that brand and you start building identity, like how you make with your friends. Like, you spend time with your friends, so you live by them, you build your identity around them. So, it's that way looking at brand while building a brand, looking at it as a human thing in today's date, it's really important because I think that really conveys, but yeah, it takes a good understanding of a market, competitors, target audience, research done, getting into a strategy, understanding vision, mission, giving it a personality, really understanding where you stand and what you really want to communicate and what you really want to stand for the coming years done, strategy done, then you get into the designy part where the fun starts. Once you're done with the verbal strategy, let's start crafting the identity
Mm,
system, your logos, your colors, whatever the brand needs, typography, messaging, positioning, considering social media has evolved, taking major chunks of brands, view balls, and way of communicating and connecting with the communities. I think it's really understanding where all you would be there. And one thing people, after doing everything, I think this is like 90% from the building strategy to the design part. Other is your other 10 to 15% is your product. Your product needs to complement what you're trying to do.
mm.
So, yeah, and one thing they don't do after doing everything is not keeping the tone of voice or whatever you've decided or whatever worked consistent, right?
That
So,
that that was, I think,
understand,
a very,
yeah,
yeah, go on.
yeah. So, research, strategy,
Mm,
and identity as a big term.
mm,
Under that, you have a lot of to work, but
mm.
at the end, if you're not able to consistently deliver or talk what you have put your heart and soul in making, I think you're not doing justice to it.
Understood. So, like, it would be very clear to say that the better you understand who you want to cater, the better your brand will
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
Yeah. So, and doing the strategy and research part is very crucial. And
yeah,
then the
very.
identity, like creating an identity and creating a visual thing and reflecting all
Mhm,
those strategic research that you did is also very crucial.
mhm. Oh, yeah,
It doesn't like you did
it
a
is.
strategy, you did research, you did a lot of analysis, you did like a lot of mapping and everything. But when times of designing the things, you are just doing things that looks good. Then that doesn't make sense, right?
Oh, yeah. Most of the
So,
time, the
hmm,
design outcomes that we build
hmm,
is mostly
hmm,
from understanding and doing a little bit of research. Really,
hmm,
really helps you while designing. I think with our process while building identity, the more time that we
hmm,
like go through is while research and really
hmm,
understanding all the part that we mentioned that come under the research. It really helps in getting our time on designing part because that's where I know that
hmm,
I'm faster over generating ideas over there once I have clear
hmm.
focus on whom we are designing and really understanding the strategy and the research part because they're all going handy. But yeah,
Interesting. So, building a brand takes a lot of time and a lot
yeah,
of
it takes patience.
efforts and a lot of people. बहुत लोग लगते हैं, बहुत चीजें लगती हैं.
Yeah.
So, you just answered my next question, which was about to build a brand in, like in this current time, and you
Mm-hmm.
explained everything very beautifully. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kudos. Moving ahead, we know there are different types of brand, there are different types of audience, there are different segment, industry,
Yep.
market. But what if someone wants to specific target a specific type of audience such as Gen Z, the upcoming
Mm-hmm.
generation or the current generation,
Mm-hmm.
people who are
Mm-hmm.
28, 2022, something like that. So, is there something different in order to create a brand for them, or is it easy as compared to different others?
Well, I would not say the process of building brand was easy
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
was easier now. It is the same thing, but it's fun. I can guarantee you that.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
I I have not built brands for the before generation, but by seeing, I really understand the authenticity, transparency, the way to communicate, and social media being a big part. I think social responsibility, I think, was was a very like a value thing that people really look out for a brand, right?
Hmm.
So I think there's not a lot of things, but the digital wave that has been added, the where you're getting heavily influenced by social media, the people on that, the creators and all that. So it's really important for any type of brand. I think the before generation brands also worked on this, and the Gen Z brands also wants this, are the values of keeping things transparent and being authentic more than, like, let's say, the previous brand or the
Mhm.
previous generation brands. I think while you're targeting Gen Z, I think it's really important to consider because the demographics in the brand you're building for changes. So I agree that because there are a lot of industries, a lot of people, and a lot of other categories inside people to target to and speak to. There could be like a small niche of people that you're targeting, like small communities or tribes, or there are a large amount of people for the same product. I think the only two values is that being transparent and being authentic is what gets you a little ahead
Oh,
from other brands.
being
I don't
transparent,
see a
right? Yeah.
major
Hmm.
difference between both brands, but now being social
Hmm.
media or a push off way of doing things, I think going towards a lot of digital
Hmm.
presentation where authenticity is a little hard to show. It's a
Hmm.
challenge, and being transparent could be easy sometimes and could backfire. So it's really important that you look over that.
Okay, like interesting insights, I would say, but every each and every insight that the guest of this podcast gives, I always speak the same word, interesting, interesting, because every time I'm getting something really interesting, so it kinds of get repetitive. But so apologies for someone who is getting irritated by the word it is interesting, क्योंकि बहुत यूज होने वाला है इस वीडियो में यार, आगे की सारी वीडियोस में. So yeah, that was a very interesting insight about not having any major difference. But as a young designer, as a young man,
Hmm.
what do you see in a brand that is specifically catering to you or to your parents? There is a different
Hmm.
age, there is a
Hmm.
generation gap,
Hmm.
you can say. So
Okay.
what is the difference that you feel? Is there anything, or
Okay.
is it same?
In that way, obviously,
Hmm.
you also know the strategies are built different to
Hmm.
target both of them. I think
Hmm.
not a lot of brands, there are brands that cover a large amount of demographic
Hmm.
for certain products. But I think
Hmm.
the way they speak from the
Hmm.
strategy part is different.
Hmm.
But the base for
Hmm.
everything is being authentic and transparent because I think those two values, I think both the generations, it's not about generation, which generation the brand is building. I really think about who the customer is. Like you said, right?
Okay.
We are differentiating. So
Hmm.
that way, it's really important that we see on how we are speaking. Let's say at the end, we also know that humanizing our brand is one of the
Hmm.
key factor that we can do to give it a personality. So I think when we are building for, let's say you also have built brand identities for a, like, let's say for a legacy brand, for a furniture brand that you did right now. They are in a
Hmm.
game for a little bit longer time. I'm very sure that you have a very different design voice or strategy voice for them than if you would have
Hmm.
designed for some like newer Gen Z or some uh that kind of style where you would go for a different way of talking to them that hits them, right? So I think authenticity is the
Agree.
base for the value both the generations look for because being authentic and transparent is not easy, but
Hmm.
that is the challenge that your brand needs to take. And I think when your verbal strategy and your identity
Hmm.
design visual part are done perfectly, I think it's there to communicate. And there's no pretty much difference than you running it for the long term and looking for the right people.
Hmm. So yeah, I got so many relatable ideas about this thing, being authentic and not.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
recently, Chris also put in a video about this, being authentic and not using clickbaity titles and using
Okay.
clickbaity things in terms of visuals, in terms of messaging. And even
Okay.
like few hours ago, I was in a grocery mart and I experienced the same thing. That there
Okay.
are a lot of brands, there are a lot of retail
Mhm.
packaging FMCG. So I was
Oh.
buying oats and muesli.
Okay.
So I was uh, looking a lot of at products Some were visually very appealing, some were visually
Mm-hmm.
very bland, very simple, straightforward. Not
Mm-hmm.
it was clearly visible that there is a lack of aesthetics in few products. But then
Yeah.
there is one app, Zoom. There is an app that scans the barcode and gives you a score on a scale of 0 to 100 and tells you how healthy is the product is, or how
Oh, okay.
honest that
Okay.
particular product
Brand is.
of
Okay. Product.
is it,
Okay.
like is there any harmful ingredients or not. So all like there was few brands who were very visually appealing, very bright, very pop colors. So I just scanned that and got to know it was having a score of 20 to 25, which was
Okay.
absolutely not healthy, including a
Oh,
lot of emulsifiers and a lot of very harmful ingredients, as mentioned. And then
but
I
the design
scanned one
was,
product, and the
but
design
the
was very
design
good, very
was,
beautiful.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay. Okay.
yeah. And then I scanned one another product whose design was very simple. It looked
Okay.
like it is kind of like very basic work, but it was having a very clear messaging. It was
Mm-hmm.
telling that we are true to what we are doing. और उसको scan किया and I got a score of 80 plus.
So,
So at that moment, I am like, this is something very
okay.
important for any brand. And I was completely shocked. Like, they must have spent lakhs and millions for packaging and designing that thing, and they're not honest. And people now are getting aware about what the label is, what the food is containing, what
Oh,
ingredients are they
okay.
using. So
Okay.
people are getting aware of this. So the same thing that you said, being authentic, not using clickbaity things. So this kind of resonate at a lot of level today itself.
Don't you don't you think
Hmm. Hmm.
from a base point of perspective,
Hmm.
strategy and identity systems are there,
Hmm.
but from a base point, innovation and being true to what the product can offer is
Hmm.
a really boost and a base for what the brand on top of it we are building. Don't you
Hmm.
think the product needs to also fit to what you're trying to communicate and needs to be true to that self?
Exactly, exactly. I think I like that is absolutely necessary. Now people are
Mm-hmm.
more inclined toward their health, more getting aware about things that at the time a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us were ignoring. Even our parents were ignoring a lot of things. शुगर के
Mm-hmm.
बारे में किसी को नहीं इतना चिंता होती थी कि लाइक खा रहे
Okay.
हैं 200-300 ग्राम शुगर खा रहे हैं दिन का कोई टेंशन नहीं. But now
Mm-hmm.
people are getting aware of this. People are actually caring. So in this segment, I'm just taking an example of the fitness and the nutrition and FMCG products. That's an example of
No,
having
I
a
can
brand
relate to
that
that.
can,
Okay.
yeah, that can succeed and that can be authentic. So I think, yeah.
Because a lot of the times when you told
Hmm.
you went to supermarket, I
Uh-huh.
also go to a
Hmm.
specialty supermarket and I just spend
Hmm.
like 40 to 1 hour over there just looking over the product. And I'm
Hmm.
someone who looks over the packaging, but at the end, I like to try new products. A lot of the
Hmm.
time, I'm guilty that I brought it because the designs were good, the packaging was good, the way they communicated
Hmm.
was good. I don't know about the
Hmm.
product, I don't know how to talk about it, but
Hmm.
I'm someone, if I'm consuming something and if you're able to staying true to the product and also
Hmm.
doing a good job with the positioning and messaging, maybe I'm the one of the customers that you're looking for. I'm very loyal to that brand because whatever you do, I'll just go for them, right? See, you give me price, come, I don't matter of paying two times of premium to that, but I think
Hmm.
that's what they get it wrong because product at the base is what needs to be there. And I think that product innovation and it could be developed with time. That should be a base focus for any entrepreneur looking for. So on top of that, everything is icing on cakes. Your strategy, your
Hmm.
visual system. It's very fun because I love like spending time on supermarket and just going
Yeah,
through
I
like
was there.
new.
I was in the supermarket for like almost 1 hour, and I was just going from this shelf to that shelf, looking at the packaging of different products. And I was observing if someone is actually attracted to something or not, or they're just looking for something they actually need. Like I was trying to understand does packaging and how exactly packaging is impacting the sales in retail at current scenario of the industry.
Okay.
Okay, you know
Yeah.
how fastly the world is changing, like
Yeah.
how the
Yeah.
how quickly the mindset of people is changing right now.
Mhm. That's a good way of
So
getting into
yeah.
the field and learning things
Hmm.
that way. But yeah, I
Yeah.
need to
So
stop spending so much time on the supermarket. Feel little guilty. But okay,
yeah,
I will
yeah, don't,
look on
that
that.
that is nothing to be guilty for. That's a good thing.
Array, I've reduced my time, but you don't know. I used to spend like 2 hours, and I don't know where the time flies by. And I'm just sitting there and looking
Hmm.
over products, and the guy comes and he's like, "Oh, you've been here," and from that to going and visiting there and making the supermarket
Hmm.
people become my friends. They know, okay, he has come, he's going to spend time. But okay, yeah.
That's interesting. So, chaliye, let's like we've talked a lot about design and branding. So,
Mm-hmm.
I got just got a interesting question, or I got curiosity about packages as we have experience in the retail market and all. Like there are
Mm-hmm.
products that are very visually appealing, very aesthetic. It looks so
Mm-hmm.
good from a distance even. And then there are products
Mm-hmm.
that are very basic, as I gave you an example, that are like that are designed, but very
Okay.
basic, like not nothing fancy, very simple fonts, very simple things.
Okay. Yeah.
Even there are some mistakes also. But
Mm-hmm.
do you think that aesthetics and this visually appealing factor will make that particular brand the
Mm-hmm.
success impact a lot, or it plays very minor role?
Oh, yes, I do agree because packaging
Hmm.
as a touch point is really something that you have to look for. It
Hmm.
has to grab your attention. Obviously, looking and giving a forward on that.
Hmm.
I'm not disagreeing that it should not attract. But I
Hmm.
think a lot of the time it could be a combination of
Hmm.
what the product is. And it's not about flashy or trendy design, or you should get attention only by using bold and all that colors. Most of the time, your copy could do the work. There's a
Yeah.
brand called Hey I Am Ugly, if you know that.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
The brand name is Hey I Am Ugly.
I think Krish told about this, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I saw it.
Hmm.
They are in the Whole Foods supermarkets outside
Hmm.
India. I looked into their branding. What they do is it's nothing. The copy is very attractive. They don't have bold colors running around. The
Hmm.
copy is, "Hey, I'm ugly." Okay. Well, someone sees that. Okay, what's that? Right? You see that, you pick it. So one thing Chris told that. So the
Hmm.
packaging should be a composition of good design, balanced design, good copy, and able to
Hmm.
transfer your message, right, to the right audience. Like if I'm not a brand's target audience and I'm picking, it's okay to an extent, but it really you have to think about it. Like who are your audience really, right?
Hmm.
So from the connection to you seeing the brand package
Hmm.
and speaking it, so the moment you touch a packaging, I think that's where all the magic happens because the job for packaging to attract has accomplished over there, right? You've picked the product, then it's all about converting. So to an
Ah,
extent,
very
design
interesting
works,
inside. Yeah.
but not
Hmm.
flashy ones. I
Hmm.
really believe that you have to go strategically and like experimenting is good, but keep a balance. Don't go for trendy ones. I think after
Hmm.
some time they're gonna get into a problem with you.
Hmm. Absolutely, can relate with this. Even like the example that I gave you, it was all
Mm-hmm.
about that the product that was not having a very good design, but it was having a
Mm-hmm.
very interesting copy. It was
Okay.
very straightforward. It was telling
Mm-hmm.
me why should I choose that product.
Mm-hmm.
And there is one great example of such packaging and such aesthetic, The Whole Truth by Thought Over. So
Oh
that
yeah.
is also a very great packaging. I was just like holding it in my hand. Colors are
Yes.
not very very poppy, but still if once the
then
moment
everything
you
is good.
hold them, you start reading them,
Yeah,
you will be motivated. Like
yeah,
this is
convinced.
it that I want to buy. Yeah.
Yeah, I really
So
like
yeah.
how they have a
Hmm.
balance between their brand identity. They stick to it,
Hmm.
simple, straightforward, talking about their brand. Health is their main concern.
Hmm.
Perfectly done. Talking about the copy, no kiss they okay, some
Yeah,
here and there on their
absolutely.
products, but the
Hmm.
product is obviously good. I really like their chocolates, like the
Hmm.
bar, protein bar,
Okay.
good. Other than that, I think yeah, because it needs to strike a balance, and please don't go for trendy designs. I've done that mistake in
Hmm.
past, so
Hmm.
I'm just telling it from that because after some time when the trend leaves, your brand will start on to
Gone.
become being a trend, and you will have a
Yeah.
tough time. I struggled with it because I did it, and it was a mistake.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. Interesting. So, like we talked a lot about brands. Let us talk about the most important thing. Like next important thing. Uh, as a designer, as a creative person, as an identity
mhm,
designer, this will be relatable to all of those who are living a life of creative. Ki, how does it feel, or how is it like to be a creative? Like, what are the challenges that you face, and what are the challenges that you think have impacted your work a lot of time? So
mhm.
you can start from anywhere, anything that you feel is like, ki bhai, I think I should talk about this. So feel free to go ahead.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Love of a creator works. It's a roller coaster, yes,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's filled with
Hmm.
a lot of things that you go through, a lot of emotion, right?
Hmm.
So you have to be creatively active. You also have to look out for the business side, which a lot of time bored into you.
Hmm.
And now you also have to strike a balance between showing your work, doing the work, not getting distracted, right?
Hmm.
So it's kind of a roller coaster. Managing the energy levels is a thing. See, you also have been in the design field right now, right?
Hmm.
So you also know how it works. It's not a set of things for everyone as same, right? Everyone
Hmm.
works on a different wavelength, right? You could be working in a different set of things. I could believe in different set of things. So
Hmm.
it's really different. Uh, I think there are a lot of happy moments and sad as well. That's why I say it's a roller coaster. I think self-doubt is one of the
Hmm.
biggest challenge that I come across. Even
Hmm.
today, I do come across it.
Hmm.
I am learning. Eliminating it looks a big thing to aim for, but to handle it, I think that's the first step that I've taken, and it's good. Self-doubt, um, the creeps, like you start questioning yourself, like what if, like the client doesn't like, what if it doesn't turn out? A lot of the times, what I used to do is to get into the self-doubt cycle and not used to start things because of just fear. Has that happened to you, Baza? Like you wanted to start or like you wanted to start something and the fear comes in, you start questioning yourself and it just left out inside your notes or your diary back inside as an idea written down, not getting
Hmm.
into the real world, right? Is that something that you come across? Does that happen to you?
Absolutely. Why not? Absolutely. I am also
How
a
do you
creative. I
how?
live. See, my job is to ask questions. Don't reverse it. Don't play reverse with me.
uh,
Okay,
okay.
take care. I will let you know. Like, see, I don't know how do I tackle this. I just like
Think.
shut these thoughts, keep them at the back of my mind, and just start doing something.
Okay.
The only way to tackle this is to like create something that you think is you are not able to create.
Okay.
Whatever you feel skeptical or you are feeling doubtful about, about any skill of yourself
Mm-hmm.
or about any kind of thing about yourself, just do it. Start doing it. For
Okay.
example, if I'm skeptical, I'm not good at typography, I will
Mm-hmm.
start reading about typography. I will start creating some posters using typography. So that is the only way I think I can tackle that. And you will be surprised that the moment you start thinking about yourself and like neglecting these things, keeping these things aside, the people that you were comparing up with, self-doubt may there is comparison. So the people that you were comparing with, or that people that you think I am not good at like him, you will be surprised that they will be appreciating your work, because you, if you create good works, yeah, obviously,
Okay.
because you are not focused on that thing. So that is what
Mm-hmm.
I believe. How do you do this? Like, how do you tackle this?
See, when I get into self-doubt, I think
Hmm.
building the confidence that takes some time, pulls out so much of energy
Hmm.
from my side, but I think I agree to
Hmm.
you. When it
Hmm.
happens, shutting your inner voice a lot of the time, knowing that we have
Hmm.
to do it. So it's like a double-edged sword. Just started and it just happened, then you
Hmm.
realize, okay, this self-doubt was
Hmm.
like something useless that I should have not done because I did complete the project. It did not turn out good, okay, but I did it. Next time I'll go for another project. Now I know that, okay, this self-doubt is kind of something just stopping me from doing. And if I do, who knows, next project could turn out good. I think more than the
Hmm.
work turning out good, it takes patience. Not obviously there, but at the end, doing the work itself is such a satisfaction when you have a lot of self-doubt going around.
Hmm. Absolutely. I said, talking about satisfactions, I want to ask one thing. How does it
Mhm.
feel to create something for you? Like, see, there is design, there is art. And then
Mhm.
as a designer, there is an artist is hidden inside us that made us to choose design as our career. So
So yeah.
as a designer, you have to solve problem. You have to create with a end goal, with a problem statement, with a brief, with the audience. But how do you
Mhm.
feel, or how do you satisfy yourself, that as artistic hunger, by
Mhm.
creating something that you actually uh, just create, like without any
Okay.
thought of that? Do you do that? What do you think about
Uh,
this?
Without thoughts, no. I always
Hmm.
keep a have a log of what I'm creating. It's either from personal
Hmm.
reflection or the thing that I've
Hmm.
observed somewhere. I
Okay.
really like this quote. I don't know who was talking about what is artist and a designer in difference. I think
Hmm.
it was Chris
Hmm.
Do. I
Hmm.
think he told artists are the creators they create
Hmm.
and designers are visual communicators, but they both are
Okay.
problem solvers. Artists and designers both are creative. They both are problem
Hmm.
solvers as well from a point of view. So most of the time, the
Hmm.
output is a lot of similar. And coming
Hmm.
back to your question, how does this feel to create something for you? I think while
Hmm.
eliminating your audience in the creative flow of creating something
Hmm.
is something good because a lot of the time when you have audience to share it for, make it for me, it
Hmm.
has been always tough to do that because I always think about what would they think. I should not be doing this, and at the end, okay, I don't see a satisfaction from their side. But this year, I made a little changes while I started sharing some personal things that I observed, something that happened to me, and they were
Hmm.
totally personal to myself, right? Their personal experience. You would have gone through it, but the
Hmm.
experience would be different. The way of handling would be different. The way you took it would be different, right? So when I shared my first piece that I made it for myself, which was from a piece of a diary journal entry that I did in 2022, I did not know a lot of people would relate to it. And at the end, I made it for myself. And it was
Okay.
very good to see it, like when you make for yourself and people relate to it. I think it's a good
Hmm.
feeling because audience looking for an audience, making for them, providing a value is good. making for yourself should be priority as an art, making, producing designs. I think when you make for yourself, I'm in my happiest zone.
Hmm.
What about you? I think a lot of the time we have to balance between both because of a lot of algorithm, I guess. But yeah, this year I've
Hmm.
stopped looking into algorithms. Uh, but I
See,
think a
yeah,
lot
I
of the
would like
time
to add
it's a
some points here.
pressure.
Yeah. Uh, absolutely,
It's a
absolutely. I
pressure
agree
from
with this a lot.
algorithm to me.
We will come to that. We will come at that.
Mm,
That is one of the most important topic I want to cover today. तो उस पे आते हैं बात करते हैं. But the thing that you ask, are you happy or not? See, for a very long time I was uh, packed in a loop of like, should I create things? I'm not getting likes. People are not watching my post. People are not
mhm.
appreciating what I'm doing. But as I was naive at that time, I was not having a lot of experience. I was thinking the things that actually should not matter. Then I
Okay.
took a back seat. I started working on my skills and then started creating things. And now, like after 6 months, the project that I recently released, that was a 6 or 7 months old project.
Oh,
I am getting
okay.
so much good appreciations for that project that I was not
Mhm.
expecting. Sorry, I was not expecting
Okay.
at all. So it was good. And apart from that, in the time period of 6 months, I was doing job and all. So I was kind of occupied with things that actually don't matter to me. I was creating good stuff, but still, so I used to get some time out to create some posters. I am a big fan of reading posters, and I'm a big fan of anime also. So I tried to create
Okay.
posters and like merging my two skills, two things that I love, design and anime.
Okay.
So the moment I launched that poster, I stopped thinking about likes. People will like it, people will think it, whatever they, I don't care. I started like, this is what I want to create. I created it without thinking about the audience, and that made me so happy. I will be like, उस रात अच्छे से चैन से सोए थे. So I had a very very peaceful sleep at that time. Yeah, I remember like every day that I created something really good, I felt so good. So I would say,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. And for all those creative who's thinking I was facing the same thing, I would say sometimes like take some time off and create for yourself. You will be very happy and very grateful for that. So yeah,
Yeah.
moving ahead. Anything you would like to add on this?
Yeah, nothing, man. Just going through the flashbacks where there were times when
uh,
24 hours of work would
hmm.
look like less and I wanted more hours added to. And there were some days where
Likewise, mate.
I'm burnt out. Like, I'm okay. I get into a loop. I often get into
Hmm.
this loop where I start consuming content. Okay, content nahi ban raha
Hmm.
hai. We are not able to design stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, start consuming other people. Let's see what they're doing, and it doesn't help. Then I get
Hmm.
into guilt. Okay, I've consumed a lot. I should reduce my screen time. I try to do that. It doesn't happen.
I agree. Hmm.
But I feel when burn out starts, and as you mentioned,
Hmm.
get some time off and start creating for yourself. I think looking for what to create or looking for the inspiration when you're burnt out is not a good way to do, according to the way I do it, because I feel a lot
Okay.
of guilt after that. It doesn't help me
Why so?
because I
Hmm.
only think, okay, I'm going through the content, okay, yeah, I like
Hmm.
someone's reel, okay, let me make that. Then I like, no, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's already there. Why should I make a replica? Okay, there's sometimes you also think, okay, my version of thinking, observation could get into this topic, but most of the time, I think you need to step back, give some rest, and then get into doing
Hmm.
your stuff. Do it gradually,
That.
do it slowly, do it slow down, just don't get out
Uh,
key, okay. Nahi ho raha hai. Just keep on doing it slowly and take rest, change spaces, and yeah, I think it's a very different emotion and way of handling for everyone, every creative.
hmm. Understood. Interesting insight. Uh, कैसे like I can relate to a lot of these things. So
Oh,
about
I
going
feel
coming to
very
the next part.
profound. I'm not alone.
life life of a creative is very very hard, bro. So let's talk about couple of more things, such as creative
Yeah,
block. Put some
yeah,
lights on creative blocks. What do you
yeah.
think? How do you tackle?
That's what.
Tell us.
Creative block used to be a nightmare for me. I will
Hmm.
not disagree that it doesn't happen to me anymore, where it does happen. That's
Okay.
what I mentioned. Like I mentioned,
Hmm.
I just back out. I just take some rest days, and I then
Hmm.
slowly get into creating things, even though I feel uninspired. Because I think that way
Hmm.
it works for me. A lot of the times when I've shared this to people, they said, "Okay, bro, back out. Like, okay,
Hmm.
chill. You need not push, recover." Like, you understand, right? How you go to the gym and you break down a muscle and it needs a recovery. A lot of the time,
Hmm.
I think creative burnout signs to you taking for a recovery for the muscle. I don't know what to give it a name.
You're
To,
correct. You are absolutely correct there. Yeah.
but yeah,
I
there
would
should
say so. I would like to.
be,
Hmm.
yeah. There's also one
I
thing.
will.
You should
Hmm.
know when to take rest and when to come back. Because a lot of the
Hmm.
time, and before what I used to do, okay, rest, I used to take rest, and that rest used to go like rest for 10, 15 days. And knowing when you're slowly ready to get back is also a thing. But it comes from my inner
Momentum. The
feeling.
momentum should not be break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I would like to add some few points here. Like even James Martin, legendary logo designer and brand designer, he was also telling the same thing that we told about muscle, breaking the muscle, recovering it. As a creative, our the biggest muscle we have is the brain. Not as a
yeah.
creative, even like non-creative also have the same thing. But for us, it is very important to have rest, I would say. So anything that you would like to say for people who are facing creative blocks to tackle that, to help them solve that particular thing from your
Uh,
experience.
See, the thing that has worked for me is obviously taking
Hmm.
rest by rest. I mean, I
Hmm.
keep on doing some creative stuff that are outside my job
Hmm.
profile, that are more of a passion,
Hmm.
that don't take a lot of energy. I just go
Hmm.
out, read some books, or take a holiday, just get away
Hmm.
from what I usually do. Let's say I'm working on an identity project, I come across a wall. I just lot of the time it's not a wall. I can keep going, but a lot of the time from the
Hmm.
mind it says, bro, okay, it's time that you give it some time, rest. So the major thing that I do is disconnect from the world, not completely, but I don't do the work which I'm doing. I do something else. A lot of the time I don't do creative. I become a little bit of lazy. I just keep on
Hmm.
reading books and I enjoy coffee and I'm just out sitting, having fun, drawing and all that. So it usually takes me like 2 to 3, 4 days. बोल नहीं सकते. You can't say, but yeah,
It
max.
take time. Yeah, it takes time. Yeah.
It all depends on personal experience of what you like to do.
Hmm.
It's just that you do what
Hmm.
takes a little bit of effort, like not in terms of
Hmm.
effort, but what can get you recovered. A lot of the times, spending time with my friend is
Hmm.
also a thing. Yeah, spending time with
So yeah, take.
friends
I would
also
say
could
take time
recover
off from
you.
your. Yeah, taking time off from your main thing and doing something other than that. That will
Oh,
help. That
yeah,
has
because
helped me
there's
also.
a also a major factor of you comparing
Hmm.
yourself to others. So that is also one of the
Hmm.
biggest like factor
Huh.
I think connects a little bit
Go
with
on. I was
the
about to come on
burnout.
this. Yeah, I was about to come on this. Go on.
Yeah, because a lot of the time when
Hmm.
you are comparing yourself
Hmm.
with someone who may be good, but
Hmm.
you don't know his story, and you put yourself down, or maybe you're looking into someone down and saying, okay, comparing to him, he's not good. Comparing also sometimes leads to burning out yourself to an extent. and you start feeling a little bit
Comparison, yeah.
anxious because I used to feel a little
Hmm.
anxious when I used to do that. I used to
Hmm.
do comparing. Today, that affirmative of comparing has changed. I have like moved from comparing. I started noticing and starting to build the observation part. Like, okay, you've done something. Okay, Vaibhav has done that poster. Okay.
Hmm.
I don't go into the thing like why I'm not able to do that. Why am I not good?
Okay.
But I look into a form. Okay, what did he do? Okay,
Hmm.
what type did he choose? Why did he choose this? I think from my perspective about what you would have thought to an extent, 100% it is not magical that it would match, but it's a good way of looking at things if you're someone you constantly compare yourself. I think learned it from the book Feel Like an Artist.
Hmm.
Austin Dillon talks about it, where he tells you to look at people and really understand what they would have thought about doing their work other than comparing.
Comparison, yeah. So I would like to put some more thought on this. Like comparison, social media, abundance of data, all these things are, I think, a very big enemy of us, of creatives, and even non-creatives
Yeah,
also. But for us, it is like चाकू गर्दन पे चाकू वाला scene हो चुका है. It is kind
it's
of like that.
everything.
So having a
Yeah,
lot of people, yeah, having a lot of people getting on your feed and like creating things, and you are again thinking in the loop of, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not even halfway there. But you've been there. I even like I have been there. So how do you tackle social media and all this stuff? Like, how do you stay away from comparing yourself? I know everyone does at a certain point, but
yeah.
over time we understand, we get to know
Hmm.
about things that
Hmm.
no, this is not actually something I should be worried about,
It's not
and they
helping.
get
Yeah,
over it. So how do you do
yeah.
that? How do you tackle these abundance of data, abundance of
Okay.
creators creating things? Yeah.
Okay. The thing is that comparing, yes, I sometimes get into that flow of comparing. I don't disagree that
Hmm.
I completely don't do it. From unconscious mind or perspective, I do get sometimes looking at someone. But I think it's like more of satisfying yourself as a creator when you're
Okay.
able to do that.
Okay.
Like, how to
Hmm.
put it in a way, like setting up of goals. Goals could be something that are personal to you. Goals in way of
Hmm.
completing something. Goals in terms of
Hmm.
doing some project. Or I had a goal that while because I used to struggle with designing for small spaces and packaging. So I
Okay.
challenged myself and gave myself a goal to do that while I don't know, for some reason, social media, whenever I used to open, used to show me that topic of smallly done, crafted ham, and I used to get a
Hmm.
little compared and irritated and self-doubt.
Uh,
Okay, I can't do this. Then I started setting up, like satisfying to satisfy myself. I set up, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm not
hmm.
gonna look into what's gonna get the outcome. And I know myself, I work good under deadlines. I good work under restrictions. So I restricted myself to create that whole workable identity. I mean, that's not a word, but workable identity and a label and a packaging. But I could only do the labeling because I have to get done with the other stuff in 4 days. So I think satisfying
Okay.
yourself with personal goals and finding fulfillment in your work, I think really keeping yourself reminding that it will take time. We are here to work on our work and improve on our craft. So let's compare ourselves to ourselves where we are not able to do. Like how I compared when I completed this project. I laughed at my older self where I used to tell myself I won't be able to do this or I failed while trying this. I think when you have that boundary of satisfying yourself and finding fulfillment in your work and admiring other people's work rather than
Mm,
criticizing or looking in a way of pulling you down, I think that's what has helped me.
mm, mm. I think
And
that answers a
if
lot of
you're,
questions. And
yeah, if you're eventually comparing yourself on social media, I think delete your social media. I can't say anything other than that.
बेस्ट ऑप्शन, बेस्ट सॉल्यूशन, फेंक दो इंस्टाग्राम, बंद कर दो अपना प्रोफाइल. दैट इज द ओनली वे, आई थिंक, ऐसे जिस
Yes.
हिसाब से चल रही है इंडस्ट्री. आई थिंक, या, आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड वन मोर थिंग हियर, लाइक इन केस यू डोंट
Mhm.
वांट टू डिलीट
Oh
योर
yeah,
सोशल
yeah,
मीडिया
yeah,
अकाउंट.
yeah.
Make sure and be very specific who you are following. What do you think? Like, who
Oh
is
yeah.
coming on your feed, and who is the person that you are feeling, like, what is the feeling that you are getting after seeing anyone's work or even content?
Oh yeah.
So
100%. It has changed in the
yeah.
past year.
Hmm.
This year, I think I've unfollowed a lot of people. Sorry, but that was because I started following people whom I would admire to either work with or either really like their work or either
Hmm.
I feel good about when they do some good work or either they are my
Hmm.
friend. But at the start, I used to follow people back because I was very focused on building an audience, right? Because algorithm was wants you to build followers. And I focused a lot on following that. Now I totally agree to you that in like how they say you get influenced by people you spend time with. I think that's the same thing that applies to whom you're following to.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Like, you are what you like, who you spend most of your time with. So that is also
Yeah.
applies on social media. I think we talked a very, very, very crucial topics about being life of a like creative. So we
Mm-hmm.
talked almost like we covered a lot of stuff. So in case, like, just to give an overview, if you want to have a sustainable creative career, like have a life of a
Mm-hmm.
creative and live um, peacefully with your craft, business, money, and all those stuffs,
Mm-hmm.
what would you suggest? Like, give some 5 pointers. What do you think will be like? Don't do this or do that. What is there anything that you would like to add here?
From creative point of view.
Yeah, from creative point of view,
Hmm.
for someone who
Okay.
wants to sustain a creative lifestyle.
Okay. Creative
Hmm.
lifestyle in the sense, how you're looking at it. What do you mean by
Okay.
creative lifestyle? Can
Creative
you
lifestyle, like,
elaborate on?
just being a creative, like being a designer.
Okay,
Like,
okay,
just
okay.
take me,
Got
just
it.
let's take you. Yeah.
Got it.
Hmm.
Okay. First thing, really understanding who you are. Get to know yourself.
Hmm.
I am working on that. I'm not 100%, not even 50% to it. Understanding who I am with every piece of
Hmm.
content that I make for myself. While knowing that audience are involved at the end of the stage, yes,
Hmm.
knowing yourself is good. I agree that at the start, it's very hard to choose whom you're working with. I
Okay.
did start, when I started, I worked with a lot of people for low budget and free just to build a client portfolio thing. But
Okay.
after you get into some time, it's really important whom you follow, whom you spend time with, where you surround you, like your environment, and whom you choose to work with. They all depend, but when you know yourself, so that's the base.
Okay.
Uh, Making money, I think, as creatives, Vibe also would agree that we don't have
Hmm.
one income stream. I think identity design and packaging from an independent studio part of view is a major focus.
Hmm.
Other
Okay.
than that, we have all that passive side. So I think
Okay.
exploring and not getting scared by experimenting is a good thing
Perfect.
because self-doubt is very common. A lot of the time, it doesn't let you start things. I think once you start, It's
Hmm.
either you're gonna not accomplish the job or you're gonna accomplish the job. Either you're gonna learn from your mistakes, either you're gonna learn from what you did the good job for. So I think you need to get into that or stop leaving yourself
Okay.
stuck and get into a space of really experimenting and really understand. And yeah, I think I would like to add that. And I also would recommend someone who is looking into creativity as a whole
Hmm.
should really read The Creative Act of Being by Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
He talks about life and creativity and art. I really feel someone reading that will really understand how creative influences and how the connection between creativity and output is also strongly involved with the spiritual power. So it's all run by the nature, right? So that's why influence in whom and where you spend your time matters.
I think you
Yeah,
just gave
and
a lot
don't
of
compare
pointers, and I
yourself.
would say that is obvious. Yeah, we just talked about those things. Do not
Please don't
compare.
do.
Do not look for. That's one thing I left. I must think validation. What do you think about that? Like
Do we talk
as a
about
designer, whenever we are creative validation, you can say the
Okay.
kind of work that we are producing. Uh, yeah. What do you think?
A lot of the times, see, we are constantly improving, right? We are trying to improve.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think validation do matters to me.
Hmm.
I also
Okay.
said you that I always try to add my audience at the end of the process.
Okay.
Criticism is also a part of it, but validation to an extent now, I do look out for some people whom I like to hear a compliment or I hear what they are really looking for. If we are working with client, obviously the client number one. Number two, the whom, the
Hmm.
brand for the customer base who we built and we are testing it in the real world, how's their
Hmm.
reaction? Those are small, small things that really like break or make things like lot of the times, yeah, validation do matter a lot of times. But I think a lot of the times you are into that creative zone or flow where you don't care about it. You just care about putting the work out. And you're really happy a lot of the times. "Ki, okay, I've done this work. I think when you have
I
that
think.
high energy of completing your work and that
Hmm.
turning out good, I think nothing can validate your work and what you did more than yourself.
Agreed. Agreed. Absolutely agree with this. And you
And
just shared a very interesting
yeah,
insights. Yeah, yeah. Go on. Go on.
before moving, I would like to know what do you
Hmm.
think about? Oh,
Hmm.
I know that you get a little bit physically active through gym.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
you are active with your body. What do you think? What's the changes that it gets you if you're in a creative field or you're producing creative work?
Hmm.
How's getting
I.
into the
Hmm.
process of physical body and I
Hmm.
know a lot of people meditate, a lot of people spiritually practice. I know spiritually
Hmm.
practicing is a lot of influence on
Hmm.
how you work, but what do you think? Having a good physical health is also a part of it? And how's your
I would say
experience with
definitely.
that?
Yeah, I would say yes. Because see, I'm not very I was not very active
Mm-hmm.
physically for like 18 years of my life. Till
Okay.
18, till 19, I was doing nothing at all. Like I never played
Mm-hmm.
cricket. I never played anything physical in the school or in college or in anything. But in like second
Mm-hmm.
year, after second year, I started going to the gym because I'm like, this is now enough. I am not looking good. I was very feared of my belly fat and fatty, like fats on my hip area and all those stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting uncle kind of vibes, looking like In the mirror, when you see
Okay.
yourself, you are giving like, भाई ये तो बड़े लग रहे हैं हम. So I decided कि see, I cannot live like this. I don't want to uh, try this. And at that time I was very young in terms of design. I was very early in the career. I was doing random stuff, doing internships and all. Very young, very like not even aware about what brand is, what branding is. So
Mm-hmm.
at that time I just started going to the gym and it was very interesting. मजा आ रहा है शुरू शुरू में, न्यू गेम्स मिल रहे
Okay.
हैं, इट वाज फीलिंग गुड. But right now, if you talk, it's been 2 years, and I think if I don't go to gym one day, I feel so guilty and I feel so weird in
Mm-hmm.
terms of my work. If I'm
Okay.
not hitting the gym for a week, for even week, I will definitely feel bad about that,
Mm-hmm.
and it impacts my work. And
Okay.
I think there are various scientific reasons and also that working out and doing gym helps us to clear our brain and have give
So
us some
you
creative
suggest
thoughts also.
someone into creative field
Hmm.
to get creative
Hmm.
aspect because like acting physically
Hmm.
one thing is obvious because
Hmm.
we spend
Hmm.
a lot of time on our desk sitting around
Exactly.
and that's a
Hmm.
bad thing for posture. Not all of the
Hmm.
creative people are into that, but
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of the
Hmm.
time it involves sitting a long hours into desk. One thing is
Hmm.
that. Other, I feel you feel a sense of worthiness and kind of a push, right, while you work. Okay. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
absolutely.
know how is it helping you?
See, I would say the biggest help that I'm getting through gym and through physical activities is I am very calm. I'm very like I'm not thinking about work and all, but I am always thinking about design. So in the gym, I'm getting the most creative ideas. I would be very honest in this. Like most of the ideas in my client works, in my job also, and even the freelance and even the content that I produce, all are all came in my gym. Like even some poster ideas, even some business ideas, like any random idea, I'm getting in the gym also
Okay.
because I'm free. But even if you are free, you are always thinking something. So at that time, I feel like I feel very good. I enjoy it. So that is my answer.
Oh, okay.
How do you
That's
feel?
totally
How's your experience? Even also going to the
that's
gym?
totally opposite to me. There's no
Tell
design
me.
working in my brain when I'm in gym.
Ah,
It's
I'm, I'm always thinking about design, man. I don't know.
no, no. I'm. It's totally opposite to me. There's
Mhm.
There's a very different place where my brain strikes, and I don't want to share about
Mhm.
it.
Okay,
I know
okay,
it's
no
very
issues.
common to a lot of people.
Mhm. If you want, you can.
Everyone knows it, man. I don't know. For some reason, my brain starts
Mhm.
working, particularly in the
Mhm.
morning washroom when you're doing a business.
Mhm.
That's where my brain works. I
Yeah,
don't
that.
know.
Hmm.
When you're
I
doing
don't
your
know. I like.
morning
I
thing,
just like. Hmm. I work
when
in
you're doing your
sprint, so I'm
morning.
like on a random day, on a some day, I will get some very burst of energy, and I will like आज तो
Hmm.
फोड़ के रहेंगे, आज इतने सारे काम निपटाएंगे ये वो. So this
Okay.
past whole week was very interesting. I accomplished a lot of things. So
Oh.
it's been going good. Uh, I think the most important factor that I changed this week was sleep. I am trying like fixing my sleep schedule. So for all the creatives who are trying and who want to fix this schedule, first start with sleeping early. I am very like it will be very controversial or ironic because I'm a person who used to sleep at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, like
Oh.
3 4 months ago.
When I wake up.
Yeah. So, but now I, when you wake up, yeah, that's it. So I'm trying my best. I'm trying to sleep before 12. So it is very helpful. It is absolutely very helpful, and especially when you are doing freelance, when you are not having a full time job. So I was about to come onto that topic. Yeah. So uh, it is very important to have some rules and some regulations and discipline. So when you sleep early, you will wake up early. अब इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि 10 बजे सो गए सुबह 10 बजे उठ रहे हैं. So that has to be like there has to be a discipline. So that
Oh yeah,
helps.
of
And
course. Totally
coming
agree with that.
hmm. So coming to
It's really
this point
important.
of as I mentioned, ki freelance and job. Coming to our next point, like you recently talked a lot about the life of being a creative, and Acha, one more thing I wanted to ask. We were doing a lot of things. We are like you mentioned not to compare ourselves Validation is good, creating for yourself is good, thinking about the audience is also good. But when it comes to the point of getting better at your craft, what do you
Mm-hmm.
think is the most important factor in that? How someone or someone new designer should, uh, what should he or she do to make sure he's on a right path where he's getting better at his craft and constantly improving? So,
Hmm. Okay.
hmm,
What I do is I do take up a lot of personal
hmm,
projects.
okay.
That's because the client projects go through, but with the personal
Hmm,
projects, I'm able to like adjust the creative brief according to the challenges and make it more harder and like add all the
hmm,
stuff that I could do. So I think that way the craft it helps me. Having an
hmm,
update over industry, what's happening in the industry, little bit design, or you could be someone particularly doing for some other industry. Having a knowledge
hmm,
is good. Having an update of what's working, what's not is really important. I think the most important thing when people start, I think you are getting like people say you to invest in software tools and all that, right? I know it's necessary. I also feel because when I started, it felt like climbing in Mount Everest because there was a lot of time where it was directionless. Because, okay, tools, so yeah, be next. I did not know what to do. So that time I used to question, ki, okay, what am I going to do? What's my craft? Figuring out that was different. I feel investing into people and the inspiration, like into the community, is far more, not only in terms of money alone, in terms of time, putting your, like investing your time with the right people, as we said, or influence, with the right people, investing with the inspiration that you want to look around and people you can seek support from. I think it's really important because having the support and you are able to get feedback that you are able to now because of social media, you're able to get feedback on your work and constantly using the criticism, which is positive or negative, using it to improve is really important. I think one of the biggest factors that really helps you get better is doing collaboration. What do you think? Doing
collaborations. Okay.
collaborations with
Collaborations, I think,
other,
is the like is the basic thing that you need. You
yeah,
definitely need that to build
yeah,
something good, to build something big. You need collaboration. Biggest
yeah,
example of collaboration, I will be saying Hollywood. If you read the book of Martin Newman, you know how he explained about Hollywood and how such huge number of creatives come together for a one project and they are disbanded like
hmm,
after that. So collaboration is like very important thing, I would say.
yeah, yeah, interesting. That's what I was looking for because practice and
Hmm.
patience, everyone knows that they have to do, or we need not
Absolutely.
tell them. But I think
Hmm.
collaborating sometimes can not get let you burn out and like explore something that you did not know that you had.
Hmm.
Let's say
Absolutely.
you did not know you
Agree with
had
that,
this
yeah.
type of skills of this type of thinking, or maybe you were scared to do that alone. I think a lot of the
Hmm.
times collaboration opens that door for you.
Exactly, exactly. You get to know more about your craft. Like uh, even if you are in the same industry, you will figure out. You will get to know that. अच्छा इसको ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं. अच्छा
So
इसको
yeah,
ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं.
you
So you
get
will
to
be
know
very fascinated.
how the
हाँ,
other creative person works.
exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting insights. अच्छा अब आगे चलते हुए talking about money and this having sustainable creative business. Like there having a creative lifestyle is a thing. Being a designer, uh, getting a job, doing things, getting money, that is okay. But if you talk about the different part, if you talk about
Hmm.
creative business,
Hmm.
would you like to tell us about something? There is one very huge comparison or debate, that is a never ending debate: freelance versus job. Yes, freelance
Hmm.
versus job. So
Okay.
tell us about that. What do you think? What do you feel?
Freelance or job? Um, See, Vaibhav, I have no idea about
Hmm.
the job, and I know the topic, the choice
Uh,
that people ask is subjective. But
mm-hmm.
freelancing, yes, I can
Hmm.
talk about it. Job, you
Hmm.
need to fill the space because you have done one.
Hmm.
You have done
I
two.
will like to ask there. Yeah, I've done more like
Oh,
a lot of jobs and internships I did. So there are few that I don't count because that was like थोड़ी देर के था उस time पे.
internships. Yes, I've done
हाँ.
internships, but I did
Hmm.
job. The thing was key when
Hmm.
I applied for the job,
Hmm.
I did not get through. So then
Okay.
I chose the freelance way.
Okay.
And I feel for me, freelance has been flexible
Hmm.
and has got a lot of opportunity to
Hmm.
really get through because it all came from the way of having a personal brand, right? On social media
Hmm.
for the creative business. So I think I was able to work on a diverse project. But however, you also know it comes with a lot of challenges.
Hmm.
Like,
That is the my question. That is the
yeah,
most important thing. That key, why did you choose freelance and how challenging is exactly your life after choosing
okay,
freelance?
okay.
Tell
When I
us.
started with freelancing, I did
Uh,
not know that it would be this challenging when I started. But
uh,
it's fun, right? It's good. It's
hmm.
very subjective for everyone, but yeah,
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
challenges that where I used to struggle. Where one of the biggest
Hmm.
thing was irregular income,
Okay.
right? Because we were working on like projects for 4 months, 4 weeks, and two
Hmm.
weeks, and months, and you never
Hmm.
know next month if there is a client who is knocking your door to work. That's a thing that was a concern before because we did not have a lot of
That's the most
leverage.
important concern. Yeah.
We did not were getting a lot of eyeballs for the work, so it was a
Hmm.
concern at the start. I used to doubt myself whether I should do, but it did
Hmm.
take off. I think irregular incomes and lack of job security could be a thing. You'll never
Okay.
know. And from a
High
traditional
risk.
job perspective, risk though
Hmm.
in everything is there. You do a job, you do a
Hmm.
freelance, you do an independent studio, whatever
Hmm.
agency, everything holds a risk. What do you think about the traditional job way for identity design? Like,
I'm not a big fan of that, but I think it is a good option. You have to be very patient. You have to have a lot of patience like, in order to grow. But it is a
mhm,
good thing, I would say. Even
mhm,
I'm not sure I might go for again in a job in the future. आज से 5 साल बाद किसने देखा है? Maybe the
mhm.
thing is that my mindset is different. I'm looking for something else. I am getting a better opportunity. I'm able to lead the leading brands. So I might go with that. I've seen a lot of
Okay.
designers who run for their studio for a while and then close that and then go back to their job. And then the job they're doing is on a very decent position. So they're able to work on a very large scale. So everything has their pros and cons until or unless you are happy with that. If you're happy with the job, do it. If you're happy with freelance, do it. I think I just follow that rule. So
Yeah, I
that is
think
the thing. Hmm.
finding it should be your choice to go with.
Hmm.
Try both.
Hmm.
I think
Exactly. Exactly.
trying
Hmm.
getting into an internship will give you an idea of how a job works, how the culture is.
Hmm.
Mainly the thing is about culture, right?
Hmm.
It's not about even at the end, it's about the job. It's about the creative
Hmm.
flow that you do, but I think it's about how the culture is maintained. Because with freelance
Hmm.
business, a lot of the time it's only you or you outsource all your team people. It could be so much hard to have that culture.
Culture. Yeah. I think in freelancing and in an independent business, you will be isolated. You might get isolated in the initial phase. Right now, I am the only one who's working for my business, for my thing, for my I'm doing everything. The design
You,
part, the non-design part, the admin task, the lead gen, everything. So it is kind of
Hmm.
mundane, but it is kind of exciting for me, exciting also. So chal raha, it is
Okay.
good, it is going good. But
But yeah.
that being
Hmm.
isolated is also an important thing.
Okay. Yeah, that is there
Hmm.
because I don't remember the book name. Oh yeah, it's called The Company of
Hmm.
One. I don't remember the
The
author.
company of
He
one, yeah, I have
talk,
heard about it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
the author talks about how
Hmm.
by one he doesn't mean a single person. He means let it be a single person or a
Hmm.
tiny team. But basically, the
Hmm.
concept of company of one is to question growth. Is basically adding more to your existing thing. So he really talks
Hmm.
about why you
Hmm.
should really focus on the quality of your work and improve your work rather than the other side. He talks about
Understood the
focusing on
quality.
that. So the way of observing that he do is in that way. He
Hmm.
says improve your work, improve
Hmm.
your charge. So it's basically not adding more to the already existing things and questioning what the growth
Hmm.
really feels. So yeah, I think it's an interesting way of looking at things.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely true. And I haven't read that book yet, but I've heard a lot about that and how people who are running an independent studio or a team with a small are
Hmm.
following the concept and following that. And that concept is very true. I can relate to that a lot. I even like I'm at very baby stage of my own business. I like recently resigned from my last job last month, so it's not
Hmm.
even been a whole month since I've resigned. I've been trying a lot of things on the base level, building the foundation and all those stuff. So it is kind of exciting, but it is kind of daunting also, because I don't have a place where I will be getting an income at the end of the month now. So the fact of that is kind of you can say disturbing also, but we will figure it out. So
Okay.
will it be okay to say that freelance and job both are good? It's all is a subjective thing.
Yeah, looking at it as a subjective
Hmm.
thing for personal
Hmm.
choice is a
Hmm.
thing because we can't really differentiate because
Hmm.
we can see the example of how I'm
Hmm.
not able to get into a job and I started freelancing and
Okay.
you worked over a job and you shifted to freelancing. That could be
Hmm.
reasons, that could be personal choice, preference to work with. So I would love to do a job anytime now if you offer.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's subjective.
You will get it if you but the moment you want it.
I don't like to open them in the morning. I think they get into the way of me getting into a flow of being highly active for creating things. So I think it's very crucial part because it's really important that you manage everything, especially your money. If you don't know that, so now it's really
Hmm.
important as a creative
सबसे
business to
सबसे बड़ा
really know
challenge है, सबसे बड़ा problem. Yeah.
where your
Uh,
penny is going. I think it's really important to
yeah.
give
So
it
I
some
think
time.
you cannot ignore these stuff, right? You cannot take
Oh,
these things
obviously,
on a back seat.
100%. And if you're not doing them, I don't think so. Your workflow is working smoother. It's really important. You could delegate it to someone.
Hmm.
Maybe you're working in a team. You can get someone to do that, and you can solely focus on the work, or you can build some time, like 15 to 20 minutes, just to do this work once you get done. I like to do it in the evenings because it doesn't
Hmm.
become a distraction for me. If I open it in the morning, it's a
Yeah.
disaster.
Yeah. The creative works on for are best for the morning, I would say.
Yeah.
Actually working on a project and doing the design part. So I think yeah, that
Hmm.
was interesting. One personal question I would say, like I am also like very intrigued about this fact. Having a team or collaborating with others, like working solo, but on the basis of requirement, you are asking for people to help you out.
Okay.
What is the best way, or what do you think is the best way?
I can't declare a thing the best way, but what has worked and what I do
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
my point of perspective, I do outsource work that are
Hmm.
outside my scope. I don't
Okay.
hire a team I don't have then because I don't want to spend my time focusing or managing them. Because when they come on the outsource part, they know what exactly to
Hmm.
do, they have their brief, they complete the job, and yet my
Hmm.
team managing task is not there. It all gets happened, so I can solely focus
Hmm.
on my work. So outsourcing and collaborating has worked for me. I've never worked in a team environment before. I would love to experiment and experience it, but outsourcing has helped because I feel it gives me a lot of time to focus on what the craft I have to do more than
Hmm.
managing and thinking about them when they know what they have to do and what they are hired for. I would spend a little bit of more money on the
Hmm.
right people than heavily managing them in each and every step.
That is interesting. Yeah, I think I absolutely agree with you on this point because I personally feel I'm not a very good leader, but that may change in the future. And I'm not like I feel it is a very huge responsibility of managing a team, like not having a team, managing a team. Like if you are doing your job or not, if you are doing the
It's
thing or
all the
not. What
mix
if?
of
Huh.
knowing when you need to lead a team and when to collaborate, knowing
Hmm.
when is a question that you need to ask yourself. Because there could be situations that you would be into.
Yeah. So like if you have team members who are uh, reliable, like they don't have to be told "Okay, like you have to do this today, you have to do that today.
And
So if you don't do this stuff, this will happen. That if you're not having these kind of conversations, I think you have a pretty good team. Else collaboration is best because you will always
okay,
go for people who are on the same level with you, like having good skills and they don't need managerial tasks, as you
yeah.
said.
I
Hmm.
think one of the best part about outsourcing other
Hmm.
people is that
Hmm.
they could be doing two or three other jobs at the time, and
Hmm.
I'm totally okay with that. And I also know
Okay.
whom I am investing on because I'm ready to invest or
Hmm.
pay them what they're asking for. Then I know that they would obviously do the job they brought it for. I know it's just a mix to know when to lead a team and when to collaborate with outsource or
Hmm.
get people to work you with or have a permanent one. It depends on situation.
Hmm. Yeah, it absolutely depends on the situation. So, one more thing I wanted to ask is that, like, in the run of having a business and like in the mindset of having a business, creative business, there are sometimes that you might face problem to create something actually good. So, have you ever
Hmm.
faced the same problem? Like, there is a business on the line, but you have to deliver something, and you are compromising on the quality of the thing. So, is this something that happened to you or not?
Hmm. Something to think about.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yes. When I started, it did happen
Mm.
because that time we were working. I'm not saying it as an excuse, but
Mm.
we were working. I was working as alone. I was working with
Okay.
whatever resources I had because that time when you start, you don't have a penny to spend on other resources to get in. I would agree that I did compromise on the quality because of not able to meet the deadlines, and I just did something. And for some reason, the client liked it, and for my mind, it was like, shit, dude, the quality is not good. I could have done better. Yes, that happens, but it's never
Mhm.
happened again after that. But it did happen once.
So I would say to tackle that, I've read this somewhere and got to know about this. Is like being very specific who you are working with, and not taking a lot of things on your plate at a time.
And the biggest
Hmm.
thing for that to happen was I leaned too much on industry trends.
Okay.
I designed it with the influence and inspiration on trends. That's
Hmm.
why I think This project did
Mm.
not turn out good because it
Oh,
did not speak the quality. From quality
mm,
wise, okay. And starting out, I did expect for me to suck at something and learn from it,
mm,
but the influence was wrong. I just, after a few months, I reacted, like, went through the situation and gone through like that.
mm,
Because the inspiration and influence that I was getting, they were pretty much wrong. They were all trends, and today it leads to a trendy branding which is not working for a long term. From a
mm.
point of view of sustaining the business, it's not. And the influence was
I
so
absolutely
hard
agree
that
with this. Yeah. Mm,
someone could come up and tell it looks like some copied work. So that was the second mistake of maybe not a full-on plagiarism, but it did happen
mm,
at the start. But I made sure it did not happen after that, and it didn't.
that is interesting. Uh, I think I can relate to that also. It happens to me a couple of times, but I think having a creative business, having a sustainable creative business, like where you are
Mm-hmm.
having constant clients, you
Mm-hmm.
are being satisfied with the work that you are putting, you are giving your best. There is one more important thing that makes the whole point of having a business very crucial or successful is building trust with the client and actually creating for impact. I think
Mm-hmm.
you will relate to that. So I would like to understand what you think about this. Like, how do you build good relationships with the client and you create for impact? So all those things, how do you tackle these stuff?
Okay. First of all, as you know, we do identity and packaging design for imaginative clients. By imaginative, I mean we really look for some specific things in form of how the founder and the brand is coming. We really look for them to be open to experimenting and taking the risk to stand out. So building a trust is like very much crucial, right? I think the communication and having the expectation set properly is the key, because trust comes when you have a built-in consistency, like really understanding
Mm,
business side of creativity. Like, you are doing your identity design and all that, but you don't understand your business part. It's going to be really tough to communicate and
mm,
set expectations for your client to know what you're going to
mm,
deliver and what they are looking for, and really to help them out. So I think balancing creative work and business responsibility, I think, is the best way to understand the business. Once you understand what you stand for and what you do, you really understand whom to work with. When you know whom you're working with, I think building trust takes time, clear communication, and being open to the client. By open, I mean being true to them. Because there's one thing that you don't want to lose,
mm.
which is trust, right? Because you don't want to lose your trust with clients, because that's the greatest asset that you have. So it takes patience. So yeah, take it slowly. Really understanding who you stand and whom you're working with really helps you to figure
Mm.
them out. That's how I do it.
Perfect, perfect. Like building the trust is the most important thing in any business, be it creative, be it non-creative, or anything in the world.
Yeah,
Trust is the most
yeah.
important factor, and as a designer, you have to be very transparent on what you are doing, how are you communicating things, and what you are promising. There is one very famous practice that everyone recommends, that under promise but over deliver. Never do the opposite.
Okay,
So,
okay. That's interesting.
sorry, anything you would like to add?
I don't do that. I don't do that. Can you explain what do you
Yeah,
mean
like
by that?
I
Under
think Chris
promise.
has also told about this a lot of times. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. So Yeah, let's move ahead. I think we're covering a lot of things. Achha, there is one very interesting thing that I feel is very. I ask a lot of people in the design industry about this. Is like, is there a sustainable way to build a creative career, a creative business, without relying on clients, without relying on leads? What do you think about this, and how do you think you can tackle this in future?
Hmm. If you don't want to go client pay, I think it's pretty obvious
Hmm.
that you want to pacify your income. I think there are good channels that teach you
Hmm.
about the design stuff, and they don't
Hmm.
really or
Okay.
mostly work with very less amount of staff. I think there are a lot of YouTube channels. I think making content is one of a good source
Hmm.
of ways you can go without the
Hmm.
client. I think digital products
Making content.
that
Yeah.
could help. Uh,
Hmm.
communities, one of a good way. Communities,
Hmm.
building communities, like first having a tribe of
Hmm.
people who are filled with the same passion, they share the same kind of vibe, like bringing them all together. I think that could be a good way of building a community and monetizing it afterwards.
Baking communities. Yeah, I think that is a very trendy thing also going on, and it's been on the
Yeah.
rise in the recent
And
content creation
when you
waves.
talk
So as you
about
also mentioned that.
sustaining your
Hmm.
business, I should say it's
Hmm.
very whole of a 2.5 to 3 years. So I really can't talk about how sustainable my
Okay.
business is because it's a very short period of time to talk about sustainability
Hmm.
of my studio, independent
Agreed.
studio, right? So, but
Hmm.
I do have a thesis of belief that
Hmm.
being sustainable at the base requires me to be adaptable to the situation faster, like the new situation
Okay.
faster. And one thing, it's personally for me, is to
Hmm.
manage or the management of finance and planning things. So I
Okay.
think these are very crucial for me because that's where I get down a little bit because the business side of that I leave on certain things that side. I think for me, financial management and planning things and having a grasp of adaptability of things faster could really get me sustainable in the long term.
Hmm. That was pretty interesting, I would say. A lot of things are interesting, but this was really. Uh,
Could be.
so I think we covered a lot of things, even like creative business, living like a creative, and then branding. So what one most important thing I would like to cover, and uh, we are like almost reaching 2 hours, so I would like to wrap up with this. Uh, Content creation. As a creative designer, as a
Mm-hmm.
graphic designer, let's take an example, or identity designer,
Mm-hmm.
content creation ko leke, how is your journey? Because we are talking here, we met through content creation itself, I feel that. And even we are creating content right now. So how important and how crucial is content creation right now? And is there any drawback of that? Like, I feel there is. So what would you like to say?
Right. Okay. The way of content creation, I see it as a way of sharing your work,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
You know how it's important to really share
Hmm.
your work with the world, right? It's really important. There could be their plus and minus. There could be their positives and disadvantages, but at
Hmm.
the end, you're sharing your thoughts, you're sharing your observation, you're sharing your imagination,
Hmm.
you're sharing what you've made for yourself, maybe for your audience. I think it comes in very handy in a lot of situations. And I think it gives you that sort of a push. When you're able to share work, you're able to reach to the people nowadays because the eyeballs are very easy to capture. It's easy to share your thoughts. So I think everyone
Okay.
should get into content creation and part of sharing their work And the other part is
Hmm.
to educate. That is your personal choice to get in or not. At the
Okay.
core, it needs to be sharing your work in any form or any form of content.
That is, I think, the basic thing. But what I personally feel is that the community, the overall pressure of being a content creator, or the numbers, the dilemma, that कंपैरिजन दैट वी गेट कि अरे यार रील डाल दिया व्यूज नहीं आ रहे हैं फॉलोअर्स नहीं आ रहे हैं अरे
Mm-hmm,
उसके 10 के
mm-hmm,
हो गए उसके 100 के हो गए सो ऑल दीज स्टेप्स आई थिंक क्रिएट द होल कम्युनिटी और द होल इकोसिस्टम वेरी टॉक्सिक so how do you make sure that you are creating content but you are not getting affected by that?
mm-hmm. Yeah,
What do you think?
totally agree to that. I think it could be tempting a lot of time to create
So
content
mm,
because it could be
mm,
tempting to create content a lot of time, right? Because you come under the pressure. I think
mm.
handling that, how do I handle it? Uh,
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
criticism
exactly.
is a part of, uh, yeah, because criticism comes in handy
Mm,
over there because that's one big part of content creation's way of giving you feedback. A lot of the times there are
okay.
compliments and criticism in an equal weight. I think it should be more focusing on you improving your work and sharing and the work you did for yourself and seeing meaningful people join you rather than I know it's fantasizing because I would not see I
Mm,
would say keys there was a time when I wanted followers. We all wanted. You also wanted to grow. You also wanted to see the numbers because it pulls up a status, right? Oh, he has that much of an
mm,
audience. And from an
exactly.
algorithm perspective, it's an advantage. So I would say anyone starting out to start before they are ready
Mm,
and start creating content. And I think they learn handily going their way of what's working and what's not working for them. Um, Criticism, you need to handle it. You need to learn it to take it positively. Sometimes I do take it negatively. I get angry on certain things, but it's just part of the process. And we can't do that to it. I think the main focus should be on sharing your work and seeing the feedbacks towards it. And everything from secondary, the followers and all that. I really
mm,
started to focus on long-term growth. So I would like to see numbers, but okay, I've spread it out for a long-term question. I would like to grow slowly. By slowly, I don't mean dheere, like that way, but in a meaningful way to share things that I like to make, but still
okay.
making good connections, making up friends. So I think hoping that to change.
So yeah, I think content creation can be a good thing, is a good thing, but looking at the things that are going on in the whole industry and the whole community, it might be bad at some point. Because you start hating, कि, अरे यार, you start hating the fact that you have to create content. And the moment you think that you have to create something, you are not creating it for the first place that
Yeah,
you started, that
agree.
you love,
Well put.
or you get to create content. So I feel sometimes it's like I get to create content, and whenever I'm feeling that I have to, like, I have some ideas, I have some good ideas, I will create that. I don't feel pressurized. There was a time where I was facing this thing that I have to create content. I have so many followers. I have to do these things. So that was very bad phase. I tried to get out of that, and right now I'm very content with the fact that I'm able to create content. So yeah, I think we
Yeah, I
covered a lot
think
of
you
things.
summed it
Anything you
up.
would like to add?
You summed it
Hmm.
up everything.
Yeah, yeah. So
Nothing to my
let's
mind that
let's wrap this
come.
up. Hmm. Mhm. Okay, cool. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching this episode. This was the episode 4 of the VYRus Show podcast about raw discussion on design. And today we talked with Rishant about a lot of things: creative business, content creations, living as a creative, and the most important thing, branding and what brands are. So I hope you got to learn a lot of things from this. Share this with a designer, and please drop your comments. Please drop your views in the comment sections. Would love to know how you was able to get something valuable from this or not. So adios. Chalo boss.